Hey YouTube, it's Brittany. So today is my Veda Day 2 video, and for today I am going to talk about my birth plan with you guys. I've got to do a video every day for Veda. I did my Veda Day 1 yesterday. If you haven't seen that, check that out. I explain why I'm doing Veda, if I've ever done it before, and kind of like a little introduction in what Veda is. So if you haven't watched it, go take a look. I'll be doing a video every day this month, and today's video is about my birth plan. Now, with my birth plan, I'm willing to let it change, obviously. If there's something, wrong, or he's in distress, or I'm, something's wrong with me, things have to change, so I'm open to that. So when I say these things, everything can change. I'm open to change. I'm not like, oh my God, it has to be like this, or I'm not going to give birth. I don't have a choice, and if he's in harm's way, or I am, or something's wrong, something needs to be changed, that's perfectly fine, and I'm okay with that. These are just some preferences that I have and some things that I want to try, or some things I don't want to try. So that's what we're going to go from. So my birth plan during labor, the things that I want while I'm laboring once I get to the hospital. Now with Brayden, I was at the hospital anytime I had contractions. I had no idea about labor when I was going into labor. When I had contractions that I thought were painful, I went to the hospital. So I was there for like my whole labor, pretty much. So with Dominic, I actually want to wait. I don't want to get there right away, but I also don't want to wait too long because my labor actually went pretty fast from when they admitted me to when I had Brayden. Was only 7 hours, and that's pretty fast for your first baby. And I was 17, so that was pretty quick. So I don't want to wait too long, but I also want to be able to labor at home a little bit. I want to be able to eat. I want to be able to, go be comfortable when I get there in nice, comfy clothes. I don't want to just be like, oh my God, I've had contractions for an hour. I need to go now. I want to wait. So when I get to the hospital and I'm laboring, I don't want any Pitocin unless it's absolutely necessary. I didn't have it with Brayden, and I don't want it now. I've heard with inductions and Pitocin, it's just not fun. And I've also heard that there's a study linked with Pitocin and C-sections. And I don't want a C-section, and I don't want to, push my body too much. I kind of want to let my body do what it's supposed to do. And not rush it not push it too much. You know what I mean? Another thing, I want to be able to walk around as long as I haven't had the epidural. I don't want to be sitting in the bed. With Brayden, I sat in my bed because I had the epidural, and even before I had the epidural, I just sat there, and it was so uncomfortable just sitting there, laying there. I didn't like it at all. So I want to be able to walk around. I also want to be able to take a shower or a bath. A hot shower or a warm bath is so comforting to me. When I'm in pain, even now, when I have ligament pains or I've had Braxton Hicks or anything painful, I take a bath or a shower, and it helps so much. It helps relax me. I feel better. And so if I could take a shower, even just sit in the shower, or take a bath, that would be awesome. I didn't do that with Brayden. I didn't even ask about it. I don't even know if it's a possibility. But it's definitely something that I want to ask and see if we can do. I also want to be allowed a birth ball. Whether I have to bring my own or if they'll provide one, I'm not sure. So maybe I'll just bring my own. But I want to be able to use it. With Brayden, I used it at home. I bounced on it while I was having contractions, and it helped. I liked it. So I want to be able to bring one and have that there. I also want to be able to have my video camera there. I want to record my whole birth, and I also want to have pictures be taken. I've heard sometimes they don't let you, and I think that's absolutely ridiculous to me. This is my birth, and I will either record it whether they like it or not. Someone can sit behind and pretend they're just taking pictures and record. I really don't care. I want my birth recorded, and I want pictures taken. And I think it's absolutely ridiculous that some people have gone into the hospital and been told that they cannot take pictures or they can't record their birth. I just don't understand that. So that's one of my preferences. I really want that done, and I'll make sure it gets done. I also want to be able to listen to music. I really like music. I love to sing. I'm terrible at it, but I like it. It helps me relax, so I want music. And I put on here, my epidural is undecided. I'm sure I will get it. I got one with Braden, and I think it's a good way for you to just relax and be able to have your baby. Some people think some people think it's bad. There's all kinds of different views on an epidural. I'm not against it. I have no problem with it. I also have no problem with a natural childbirth if that's what happens. I have not decided. I won't know until we get there, and we'll see how much pain I am and what I can handle. So now once he's born, and also during my pushing, I have here, we're doing delayed cord clamping. And that was something that I decided before I even had him, that if I had another baby, we would do delayed cord clamping. I also put on here no episiotomy unless absolutely necessary. With Braden, I had an episiotomy, and it was bad. I had so many stitches. I had stitches on the inside, and it was really uncomfortable. I lived in a 2-story house with my mom, and I had to stay downstairs for over 2 weeks because of how bad it was, and I don't want that again. If it's necessary, go ahead and do it. I'd rather have an episiotomy than tear, but if it's not necessary, I don't want it done. Once he's born, I also want direct skin to skin. I want him placed on me right away. Don't clean him off, nothing, just give him right to me. That didn't happen with Braden because he was in distress, so Brandon didn't even get to cut his cord. My husband didn't. They just took him right away because he was in distress. So I want direct skin to skin. This is kind of all over the place. It's not even in order. I put here to save my placenta because we were going to do placenta encapsulation, but with only one income right now, it's just not something that we can afford, and it's not an extra expense that I want to do, that I want to, throw out there, and, so that's actually going to be taken off my list. We are not doing placenta encapsulation anymore. When he's being delivered, I don't want any forceps used at all. If something like that is needed to be used, I would prefer the vacuum, and that's only if necessary. I do not want that used just because the doctor wants to hurry herself along, or I'm not comfortable with that. I'm definitely not comfortable with forceps, and I would prefer the vacuum if one of those methods have to be used. I also want to be able to have a mirror to be able to see his head when he's crowning. I didn't have that with Braden. I saw pictures. My mom took pictures, but I want to see it while it's happening. I think that's really cool. I want to be able to look. If I don't want to look after I've seen, they can just take it away. But I do want to be able to have that opportunity to see his head. I also want my husband to be able to cut his umbilical cord after we've done the delayed cord clamping, and I don't want them to push on my stomach to get the my uterus out, my placenta out. I actually didn't know that was even an option. I thought that they had to do that, but I guess what I've heard is that that's forcing it out, and you can let it come out on its own. So I don't want them to push so much on my stomach. Also, excuse me. With the direct skin to skin, I don't want them to take him until he's fed. Braden and I had a really hard time with breastfeeding, so I want to make sure that Dominic gets latched on, he's had a good feed, and then they can take him and clean him up and all that stuff. But I want time with him. I don't want them to just put him on me for 2 seconds and then take him away. I want time with him, to sit with him. I understand that they have to evaluate him, but if they think everything's okay, they don't need to take him. So I want to be able to hold him and stay with him until he's fed, and then they can take him. Along with the, breastfeeding, no bottle or formula, and no binky until he's been fed, until he's breastfed. I want to make sure that we get that going at least once or twice before he gets a binky. I also put on here no circumcision. I don't want to be asked about circumcision. We are not circumcising him, and I don't even want to be questioned about it. So I'm going to put that on here. That way they're aware and they don't need to worry about it. I also want his hand and footprints done. Once they do take him and clean him up, get his hand and footprints. We didn't do that with Braden. I actually thought that they automatically did that. I didn't know that you had to bring your own stuff. So we never got his hand and footprints when he was a newborn, and I definitely want that with Dominic. I also have here that all testing that can be done in my hospital room needs to be done in the hospital room. I don't want them to take him to the nursery and do testing. Whatever they need to do, I want to be there for, and I want to be right there. I want it done in the room. I don't want them to take him away. It needs to be done there with me. And then I have here lactation support, I want a lactation consultant to come in, make sure everything's going fine. Didn't happen with Brayden. And I want to make sure that he's feeding well, he's got a good latch, and that we're going to be okay to go home. And we'll still be able to work it out, and it'll be okay. Breastfeeding is a huge goal for me this time. It's definitely something that I want to do, and that I'm not even giving myself an option about. We have one little small thing of formula that Babies R Us gave us, and we have nothing else. I do have bottles, but I have 2 breast pumps and a manual pump. I have 2 electrics and then a manual. So if we had any problems with latching, I can pump for him. But I want to make sure that we don't have those problems. I want any help that I can get while I'm in the hospital. That way when we go home, I'm comfortable and I know that we can do it. And the last thing that I have on here is all visitors approved by me. I don't want my room full of people all the time. I want it kind of calm and quiet. So I actually have a list of people that are allowed up at the room. And it's mainly just family. I have a few really close friends that are family, like aunts to the boys, and they're allowed up. But I don't want all of my husband's friends. I don't want I don't really have any friends. I don't socialize very much. But I don't want anybody up there. So before visitors come in, I want the nurses to let me know who's here and what they're doing, who's there. I don't want my room just flooding with these people because they don't want to tell me that they're coming up, or they forgot. I don't know. I want all visitors approved by me. So that's what I have for my birth plan right now. Like I said, it can change. Things can change. I'm open to letting it change, especially if it's medically necessary. I would in no way put me or myself or Dominic in any harm just so that we can follow my birth plan. Things change, and most of the time they don't go your way. So I try not to be too picky on here, and I try to, list things that that really aren't a big deal. So I'm not picky. As long as I'm healthy, he's healthy, and he's delivered safely, I'm perfectly fine with that. So that's all I have for now. I will see you guys tomorrow for my Veda Day 3, and look out for that. And like I said, if you haven't watched my Veda Day 1, watch it so you know what Veda is, and you know why I'm doing this, and you know why you're going to see me every single day for this month. So that's all I have today, guys. Bye.